Thursday, everybody. Can you believe we are already at Thursday? So today I am making ornaments. So I'm making homemade air dry clay, and I'm going to turn those into, hang on, I had to swipe something out of my way. Turning those into homemade ornaments. This is an easy recipe. Okay, so if you've never made ornaments before with your kids, with your grandkids, even for yourself, try this. It's super easy to do. This recipe, I already got it started, but I want to show you what the recipe is, okay? So you need a pot. You need 2 cups of baking soda. You need 1 cup of cornstarch. And you need 1 1/4 cups of water. All of that goes into your pot, and you just, on medium, you just cook it. Stir, 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 stir. Don't stop stirring. And then it will become like a mashed potato consistency. And as soon as it does, you take it right off the heat, you cool it down for a couple minutes, and then this is where I'm at right now with it. You form it into a ball as soon as you can touch it. Hi, Jen from Cape Cod. And you wrap it in towel that's damp, a damp towel to cool down until you can handle it and you're ready to use it for cookie cutters. Hi Tim, how are you? I just made a batch here, let me let you guys peek, of homemade air dry clay. I'm going to use this to turn it into some homemade ornaments. First, I want to show you guys the cookies that from yesterday. So we made royal icing yesterday, and I hand decorated all of those cookies last night, and you got to see these. They're super, super, super cute. All right, so Don't people know not to call when I'm doing this? I have these adorable Christmas trees I've got about 6 of these from yesterday. And then I have these stars. I have them in red, and then I have them in white as well. And wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Here's my big old giant bag. Some of them anyways. Here's those white ones. Look, how charming are these? Aren't these adorable? Got those done yesterday. And then I also did these fabulous Minnesota and Wisconsin cookies. And then I was decorating for hours yesterday. I made some ornaments. So I got about, maybe 12.5 cookies decorated yesterday. But I like to use little bits of candy to like give it a little bit of a 3D effect, but isn't that cute? So fun. So anyways, that got done yesterday. And so today I'm using the same cookie cutters that I used for these guys to make ornaments. If you've never made homemade ornaments before, hi.
Hello.
Then it's really easy to do. Again, I gave you the recipe for the air dry clay. It's easy to make. Takes a little bit of time to cool before you can handle it. So I have it wrapped up in a damp towel. When you're not using your clay, you need to keep it really tight from the air. A damp towel works really well to help it not dry out, because of course the whole point with air dry clay is that the air dries it. We don't want it to dry before we're ready. So I'm going to work with it in batches so that I can keep a lot of it under the damp towel. And we're going to treat air dry clay almost the same way we're going to treat sugar cookies. Almost exactly the same, except instead of keeping it in the refrigerator to keep cold, we're keeping it under a towel to stay damp. Or not dried out, I should say. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to roll it between 2 pieces of parchment paper. Same thing you would do for cookie cutters. Although I got to see where my roller is. Let's see. Roller. And the same thing as making cookies, you want to have the same consistency of all the way across the board. You want that consistency of your thickness to be exactly the same. Janet, how about a Tupperware container? Yep, as long as you can take out any of the air in the Tupperware container. So put a plastic wrap over any space that might be in there. I would just wrap the whole thing in plastic wrap and then put it in a Tupperware container. Okay, homemade air dry clay is just a little bit more fragile than the kind that you're gonna buy at the store. That's why we wrap it in a damp towel rather than just sticking it in a container like you would with the stuff you get from the store, because it's a little bit more fragile. So we're gonna go for about 1/3 of an inch, the same as cookie doughs, the same as sugar cookies, same thickness. And we're just gonna roll it out real gently to about that thickness. I'm gonna adjust a little bit thinner. Amy, hi. Yeah, possibilities are, oh my goodness, possibilities are endless. I'm actually going to make some those little wine charms that you see. They're tiny little guys for some friends of mine for Christmas. Make a tiny little hole and use wire instead of ribbon. I'm just being real gentle because I don't want this to go thinner than necessary. All right, that's pretty good. And then the same thing as you would do with anything else, you're gonna use your cookie cutters. But here's something I'm gonna do differently. I'm actually gonna try this. I'm not sure if it's gonna work. I'm actually gonna try my pattern roller on this because I think this is a really nice way of not having to paint my ornaments. I'm gonna use my pattern in a simple shape, and I think that would be super charming. So fingers crossed, you guys. I've never done this before. Taking up just a little bit of the clay in one of the spots here, but other than that, took up just a little bit of the clay, which I don't appreciate, but other than that, it went pretty well. Okay, so I'm actually gonna just use a biscuit cutter because I'm gonna make these into just sweet little circles with these patterns on them, or stars. The other thing, of course, is I have the Minnesota and Wisconsin cookie cutters from cookiecutters.com that I'm also gonna use today. But my daughter's moving to her first apartment, and I wanted to make her a simple set of ornaments for her tree. So that's what I'm actually working on today. So you're gonna cut them out just like you would sugar cookies. And if you wanna use a little bit of flour, if they're sticking, use a little bit of flour on it, just like you would sugar cookies. I'm trying to like match the patterns. That's why I'm being more careful. How many of you guys have made homemade ornaments before? I mean, we all have as children, I hope. But how many of you guys have made homemade ornaments as adults? They're really easy to do. All right, and then you're gonna do, just like you would with sugar cookies, you're gonna peel away that clay that you're not gonna use. Just peel it away, and immediately we're gonna put that back into the ball that we have so it doesn't dry out. Unlike sugar cookies, you can keep using clay again and again and again. As long as you keep it damp, it does not mess up. Let me grab a scooper. We all know when I say scooper, it could mean a spatula, it could mean a pie crust, a pie cutter. You never know what it's gonna mean. Pick it up as carefully as you can. Mine's moving its shape a little bit, just like sugar cookies do. And then you're just gonna set that aside to dry. What you could do, if you wanted to, is you could just simply leave it on this, move that aside, and move on to your next batch, and it'll dry really nicely. But because I want to do this in front of you guys, you know what? I might do it that way because I don't want to keep redoing these. Okay, I'm gonna do it this way. So let me show you. I'm just gonna go ahead and peel this away like this, like so, and then I'm just gonna leave these here. I have this little tool, the fondant. When you go to Michael's, they have that little fondant department where they have all those like gum paste tools and fondant tools. It is a really great place to find things for sugar cookie dough, for pie dough. They have these little tools that are great for cutting, for making little shapes. They have some tools for making fondant bows that work fantastic for pie crust and sugar cookies. Love it. There we go. Set that aside. Reminder, don't forget to punch the hole. Don't forget. I would totally forget. I'm using a skewer. You could use a straw. Make sure you make it thick enough, or make your hole thick enough that you'll be able to stick a ribbon through there at some point. So I'm just using a skewer going around and around so it looks like that. Set that aside. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to let that sit for a full day. So tomorrow, come back to it, flip it over. That's it. And then you're going to just simply take a bit of sandpaper to sand those edges so that they're perfectly smooth. And it's as simple as that. Let me show you a couple other designs. I'm trying to decide where I want to put my... Don't put your hole too close to the top, because then your clay might break and your ribbon will come right through. So keep it kind of down a little bit lower. So I hope my daughter likes these handmade ornaments. I kind of like the design on here because I could totally just take a brush of paint, a simple color, and pick up on the texture. It'd be really pretty. All right, so now I'm gonna move on to the next batch. Again, I have my air clay underneath some damp towel, like it's multiple pieces, but it's not. Martine, evening, Yorkshire, 4 degrees. I'm not sure how cold it is here. Prince, hi Prince, you just made some cookie and it was hard to make. Was it? Did you get it done though? Did it work? That's the question. So I'm just kneading mine a little bit because it wasn't as smooth as I would like it to be, so I'm going to knead it a bit. This is kind of like that, you know that stuff they make for anxiety for you to squish? That's like what this is. I like it. 34 degrees. It's 34 degrees here. Hey, that means it's not freezing. Amy, did you see the cookies I made yesterday? I decorated yesterday. We have Christmas trees. We have Wisconsin and Minnesota. And I have 2 kinds of stars. And I have some ornaments around here somewhere. So I spent probably about a good 2 hours last night decorating cookies. I'm going to ship some overseas. My sister is based in the Air Force, and she's in South Korea. So I just got her pajamas. She's not going to be able to be here for Christmas Eve, but I thought I'd still send her Christmas Eve pajamas. So I'm going to include some cookies with that. Thought I'd give her some Minnesota, Wisconsin cookies, send them on her way. So hopefully she'll get them sooner than later. All right. Again, you want to try to keep the thickness the same. That's really kind of what separates out handmade ornaments that look kind of shoddy and some that look nice, is that they have really good consistency on the thickness all the way through. So kind of try to keep those consistency real nice. Okay, so there's that. And now I'm going to do these Minnesota, Wisconsin ones. Minnesota and Wisconsin. I'm terrible at planning where to put these. That is probably my worst skill, is the planning of where to put the cutters to get the most out of the deal. All right, and then what I want to do with these guys, what I wanted to do was this one needs a little bit of help coming out of this cutter. I should have used a little bit of flour on that. You can use flour on these just like you would sugar cookies. Almost the same thing as sugar cookies, really, except that it's a little bit more permanent because you don't eat it. Although it's not as much fun either because you don't eat it, so I guess it goes both ways. So I have this little tool that I picked up for fondant, and it creates little stitching. So I was going to run this tool along the edge of these ornaments to make it look like they've been kind of hand stitched. Just a little bit of extra design. Got to put my hole in there so I have a place to hang it from. My hands are already feeling the dryness of the clay. And there's that first guy. And again, they just dry overnight. And then I flip them over, dry them again for another day. And then if I want to, I can take some sandpaper and sand the edges so that they're nice and smooth and you don't have any little bits of clay hanging out. But that's it. And these, I'm making several batches of ornaments because we're going to use these in some gifts for friends this year. We're going to make some handmade ornaments for some of our friends because I think that's special. And there's Wisconsin. So what do you guys think? Think you could tackle this project? I mean, we just made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ornaments and handmade clay, and it took me only like 20 minutes. I mean, I have done it before, but still, it's not too bad. And how special is this? To get handmade ornaments from a friend for Christmas. And like I said, I really wanted to get my daughter, because Christmas decorations are expensive. And you know, when you get your first apartment, that's not something you can really afford. So I thought I would make her some handmade ones. There's Wisconsin. Oops, almost dropped that guy. Almost dropped it. So I don't know if you heard that we pulled up our floor in our bedroom. And we have hardwood floors, but we did find a patch that obviously had water damage, which we're assuming is why it had been covered up with carpet. So we're going to need to do a little bit of patching to get it to match. But that's not that big a deal. Shared. Hi, Jennifer. How are you? I'm going to put my little hole in this corner instead of the center, because I wonder if it would look cute hanging from the tree from like the corner. All right, there's that. I'm gonna make up the rest of these. You guys, that's the end of this. Feel free to ditch me if you want. Otherwise, if you're going to stick around, tell me how you've been doing. Tell me how your week is. Tell me what your weekend plans are. I would love to hear what's going on in your area while I sit here and make gobs of ornaments for my daughter. How old were you guys when you moved out and got your first apartment? My daughter had her first apartment when she was in college, but she lived with a few other people, and so it was like a dorm kind of deal. And now she's moving out to a proper apartment with her boyfriend, and so it's going to be their first apartment. And she's 21, and I think that's about right, I think. But I'd be curious how old you guys were when you got your first proper apartment. The other thing you can do is you could use like jewelry stamps to use letters to spell out like joy or spell out their name or, you know, their last name. You could totally do something like that with some simple little letter cutouts. You can paint, you can color your dough if you wanted to. The other thing you can do that's really nice is adding essential oil so it smells good on the tree. It doesn't last for very long because eventually that smell goes away. But it's nice when you first gift it. You could totally press some flour or some fresh herbs into here to make like a dried floral ornament. That'd be super charming. All right, just about there. trying to be like super good about this. I want these to look nice. I had to sneak my dogs some bones earlier right before I came on because they were wanting to look out the window and bark. And I was trying to tell them that I was about to go live and that they needed to be quiet. But for some reason, they just weren't listening to me. All right. So I'm going to try this guy one more time. I wasn't too totally impressed with it the last time, but we'll try it again. It's okay. I'm going to flip it over and try it one more time on the back side and see if I can get a better result. I'm going to press a little harder. See, the problem is if I press too lightly, then the design doesn't take. If I press too hard, then the clay sticks into the roller. So it's like this fine balance of pressure. That one worked out pretty good. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to do a star. And another star. You guys are sure quiet today. My goodness. Normally everyone's just talking away. Nobody's saying anything. I must need to get different material. I'm going to use a circle so I get more out of these. This one has that shape on there. Let's see what else I got. Got a smaller guy. I'm gonna use this guy. Did you guys get to see the texture that came out of that? Can you guys see the texture that came out of the roller? It's really pretty. It's charming. So I'm gonna add a little edge to it again, just for a little bit more interest. I also think adding this edge helps me get away with using white clay instead of having to hand paint all of these because you have all these pretty designs on there. I just finished watching the first season of the Great British Design Challenge. Have you guys checked that one out? That was fun. Now I fancy myself a designer. There's that one. And these will dry pretty much the color they are. They'll dry nice and white. My hands are super dry from the clay. So if this bothers your skin, you'd want to put on some gloves. But it's just baking soda and cornstarch and water, so it's not like it's gonna hurt you any. It just feels kind of weird. Shoot, I missed a little bit of my star. A little bit of my star came off. Now, if anything breaks on your bit while you're working on it, if you just put a little bit of water on it and stick it back, it will work again. It's awfully forgiving stuff. These stars are really easy to work with. I prefer these stars to the other shapes because these points are really nice. Prince, you said that you made a batch of cookies. How did those cookies turn out? You said that was hard, but how did they turn out? I think cookies are always harder than people think they are, especially like when you don't make cookies very often. They're always a little bit more tricky. You finished watching the British Baking Show. What did you think of that? I love that show. I have some of the holiday ones to watch still, so I'm excited. There's that star. Reminder, these take a whole day to dry, and then you flip them over and let them dry another day. They're not hard, it's just a little bit time consuming and a little bit putsy kind of stuff. It's very much like decorating sugar cookies. Kind of the same exact skill set that you need to do cookies, that you need to do these. This is really great for children to do because they can't really go wrong. Because everybody loves homemade children's Christmas ornaments. I mean, who doesn't like that? You love them? Love using my reindeer cookie cutter you purchased when my girls were little to make these. My girls are now in their 40s. That sounds charming. Did you do them in white or did you like paint them? Girls are 40. Aw, that's special. Do they have them on their own trees? I'm hopeful, there's another one. I'm hopeful that my daughter appreciates this and thinks that they're more than just handmade decorations, you know? And that they become something special. I hope. Don't we always hope? We always hope for that. Round is hard for me. I have a hard time using this tool on a round shape. I have a hard time making it exactly round. Have you heard that maybe it's an old wives' tale, but that thing that says that if you don't know how to make a perfect round circle, you're not psychotic. You're psychotic if you can make a perfect round circle. How many of you are gonna go try making a perfect round circle now? I sure did when I heard that. Luckily, I can't make a perfect round circle, so I am not psychotic. Apparently that's the way the rule goes. There's a circle. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 ornaments already, you guys. I mean, how much would that cost at the store? Quite a bit. And I'm already at 12. And I've only used baking soda, water, and cornstarch. So that's pretty dang good. And I've got enough for a good, jeepers creepers, 2 dozen at least, if not another dozen. And what I'll do is when we gift these, some of these will be gifted to friends in like a little gift set. Then I'll paint their names or something on them. Painted, and yes they do, and use Google eyes and red pom-poms for the nose. Oh, that's adorable. Pom-poms are always a win. So are Google eyes, by the way. One summer I took a pair of sunglasses and covered them with Google eyes for my son for summer. So he had these sunglasses that had Google eyes stuck all around, and he thought it was fantastic. He has unfortunately since grown out of that phase, but it was fun for a little while. There's that one. Got 3 out of this guy. So this is cooling down really nicely now. It was a little bit warm when I first started. Hi Veronica, how are you? But now this is cooling down. So these ones are plain, and I wanted to create a little bit more of a design on here for my daughter. Let's see, where did I put? So I have this little tool that cuts, and it has this little spiky bit. So I was going to use it to write her name on here. And so what's going to happen is it's going to pull out, I'll show it to you in a second. It'll be a little bit rough on the outside because it pulls up all of the dough in order to make that shape. And so what I'm going to have to do is sand the front down a little bit when it dries. I'm going to show you in just a sec what I mean. So if you can see, it's a little bit rough up here from pulling up all of that dough. And so when this is dry, I'm going to just take a sandpaper and give it a quick sand, and that will all come off and it'll be nice and clean. So I'm not worried about that right now. So now I'm going to write her boyfriend's name under there. And then I'm going to write the year So it's kind of like one of those little first Christmas ornaments. I think they'll appreciate that. So are you guys doing anything exciting this weekend? Anybody got exciting plans? I'm going this weekend to a class to learn how to make glass ornaments. So I'm excited about that. Never ever worked with glass before. Has anyone here worked with glass? It's a little bit scary actually, because there seems like a lot of opportunity to break something. And I'm really good at breaking things. So that one's done. So that one's a special little one. I should have done this first and then cut this out. A little bit backwards on that, but oh well. That actually works out pretty good. Interesting. Who knew? There's the little spot for ribbon. I gotta go get some ribbon. I don't know what color I'm gonna use. Memories are the best thing ever. They are. You know, when it's all said and done, you can't remember exactly what you made. You can't remember exactly what your house looked like. But you can sure remember how you felt, can't you? How you feel is more important, isn't it? Ah, I cannot make a circle. These circles are terrible. Gotta go a little slower and a little bit more carefully. There. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, one of which is hand carved with their names in it. And so I'm actually going to be done, I think, for right now. This is still warm. I'm going to be done. I still have this whole big batch. So you can probably get about 3 dozen cookie cutters. You can get about 3 dozen ornaments out of this batch of clay, this handmade clay. And it is really, really easy to work with. Like, easier than sugar cookies, by far. So anyways, that's that. I'm going to be back next week. I don't remember what we're doing next week. It's going to be amazing, I'm sure. But I'm going to get to finishing all of these up so that I can have all these handmade ornaments. And the recipe and the directions for my sugar cookies, which are gluten-free as well if you need that recipe, and my royal icing is going up later today, so watch for that. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week. You guys have a wonderful weekend. I plan on it. So we'll see you guys later. Okay, bye guys.